We just want to welcome everyone to our second annual celebration of Breath, Body, Mind Foundation. And there's a lot to celebrate. Certainly, we want to celebrate all of you for joining us and supporting us and teaching Breath, Body, Mind and talking about it to people you know, because we all know that anytime, but especially in troubled times, people really need these tools to help them deal with whatever is going on, and a lot's been going on, and to maintain their health, their positive feeling about life, and to come through with growth and the energy to move forward and overcome whatever has been happening. So I'm sure many of you have personal stories of things you've gone through. Many of you have suffered many things, as well as your countries and so forth. So much going on in the world. But what always amazes me is the people who are able to do good things and find good things to celebrate, even in the worst of times. And we have some of those amazing people with us from many countries around the world who are going to share with us their stories and their wisdom and what they've learned, and so many great things. But I would like to begin by introducing our wonderful board members. Oh, for those who don't know, this is Dr. Richard Brown, my darling husband, and I'm Dr. Patricia Gerbarg. But I would like to introduce our wonderful board members. We are members of the board, but without the other board members, we couldn't possibly have done so many great programs throughout the world. They support us, they advise us, they encourage us, they raise money for us so that we can do these programs. So, okay, so I'd like to say hi to Brian Hart, our wonderful treasurer. If you could pin Brian so we could see him. Oh, here comes Brian. Hi, Brian. Is there anything you want to say today?
Well, you asked earlier what we're hoping to get out of it. I've already achieved that, because now I see the faces of all the names that I see typing in donations and contributions. And so welcome, everyone.
Wonderful.
Thank you for joining us.
Thank you, Brian. And is Carol Hyde here today? No, she wasn't able to come. Okay. And Jane Keith, I think she was not able to come too. Jane and Carol do tremendous work for the organization, and I'm sure they're going to enjoy watching our video of this program when they're able to. They just couldn't join us today. But our wonderful Paula Navozo is here. Hi, Paula. Would you like to unmute and say anything? Say hi.
Yes. Hi, everyone. We're very excited. Last year was our first celebration, and everybody was just blown away. And we're even more excited this year to have Helene from Ukraine join us, and that's our focus this year. So welcome, everyone. You're going to enjoy the day. Thank you.
Thank you, Paula. And next we have Dr. Jean Bosco Nyanzima from Rwanda. I don't know why I keep saying Rwanda. Hello, Jean Bosco. Welcome. Would you like
to? Hi, thank you. Hi, everyone.
Would you like to say a word? I know you'll be one of our speakers later, but
I feel excited to be with you, and thank you for joining us, and welcome to everyone. Thank you.
Thank you, Jean Bosco. And Dr. Nina Feldman-Smiley, here all the way from the wonderful Mohonk Mountain House.
Hello, everyone.
Nina on?
I'm on, and it's a pleasure to be here with everyone. This is such a remarkable community doing such wonderful work, and welcome to everyone who's part of it. It just touches me deeply. Thank you.
Thank you, Nina. And your wonderful books on meditation are treasured. We hear about them from people in other countries and all over the world. And next we have Helen Spian, who is our newest board member and from the Ukraine. Would you like to say hi, Helen?
Sure. I'm so happy that we have this luxury today. We can afford to have the time and just be able to see all these smiling and happy faces Thank you so much for organizing this and for all the things you have been doing for Ukraine. Welcome, everyone. I'm so excited to see all of you.
Thank you, Helen. So I would just like to give a little, for our board members, if we could give a little, put your hands up, send your heart emojis or whatever you'd like to do. And we go back to gallery view for a moment. Thank you, board members. Next, I just would like to recognize Linda Lentini. You all know her from all the emails. You can't imagine how hard she's worked. She is our Director of Programming here at Breath Body Mind Foundation. And there isn't a big enough thank you that I could offer you, Linda, but maybe I'll just say thank you anyway a zillion times. And I'm going to send you a little, there we go. Thank you, Linda, for all your hard work, not just for this celebration, but all through the year. Really has been quite amazing. Thank you. Did you want to say a word?
I just want to thank everyone for coming. We really appreciate your time and effort today. So thank you. And thank you, Dr. Brown and Dr. Gerbarg, for everything that you do. Everyone doesn't realize how hard both of them work. They work really, really hard.
Well, you know, because you're constantly emailing with me in the late hours of the night.
Early morning, late hours.
Whenever. Thank you, Linda.
Thank you.
I'd also like to invite Yael Dresner to come, and please be pinned for a moment. We want to recognize Yael because she's an artist as well as a graphic designer, and Yael has designed all of our beautiful logos. The Breath Body Mind Foundation logo that you all know so well, and also the beautiful logo she designed for the Ukrainian Breath Body Mind Foundation programs. And just recently, the Breath Body Mind logo got honorable mention in the prestigious International Design Competition by Graphis for 2023. So congratulations, Yael. Someone recognized the beautiful, talented work that you've done, and we just love your logos. And she's also been very helpful in creating and transferring the logos to create all the beautiful sweatshirts and t-shirts, and now we've even got cups, and who knows what's next. When everyone goes to our store, they'll find holiday gifts there. So thank you for doing so much for us, Yael. And would you like to say a word?
Sure. Well, you're welcome. It's an honor to do the work for such a wonderful cause and wonderful people.
Thank you.
Like Eve said, the breathing that I've been doing with Dr. Brown for 6 years now has changed my life, and I especially am affected by how unconditional giving you both do. So I find that very, very powerful. So yeah, thank you.
Okay, thank you all. Is there anything you want to say, or you're going to just start teaching
No,
around?
I think I'll lead people. So some people have never done this before who are online, and we're going to do some gentle movement and breathing, and just do what you feel comfortable with. If you're not sure, you can sit down and just watch. If you need to do it sitting down, you can do it sitting down, and much of it could be done lying down. So the main thing is to be comfortable, but even trying creates a shift inside that begins to change things in a really positive way. But this is a child's game in a sense, where you just follow whatever silly thing that I'm doing and just see what happens. So if you can, let's stand up. And of course, you see the Ukrainian sunflower, the logo that Yael designed. And we're going to start raising the energy in our bodies and circulating it through different energy channels using tapping and music. So I'll let Megan put on the Walk a Mile in both Ukrainian and English song. Is that a good volume for everybody? A little up, a little more up. A little louder volume. That's sounding pretty good. Tap aside. Feel the vibrations in your body. Another side. Long points. Base of the neck. Over. Down the upper side of the arm. Up inside the arm. Over to the other shoulder. And down the upper side of the arm. Let your body sway with it. And up inside the arm. Belly. Now we're going to go down the outside of the legs. If you need to sit down while you do this, that's fine. Some very important longevity points along this channel. Outside ankles. Outside feet. Top of the feet and toes. Inside feet and toes. Lower legs. Up to the upper leg. Behind. Sacrum. Kidneys. At your side. Other side. Upper chest. Base of the neck. And you can do some pause, or if you wish, you can spin, which is what kids often do at this point. And listen to the purity of her voice. And then just close your eyes. Go inside. And stay down. Feel the changes inside your body. Notice changes in your thoughts and attention. And observe the qualities of your breathing. And opening our eyes. So some of the practices we do are very activating and raise and circulate energy. Some are calming, and some are balancing and optimizing at the same time. So we need to activate often to start a sequence to prepare your nervous system to absorb it all. Each of these things helps the other parts, okay? So we're going to do some ha breath. I think we'll do it a little bit gently today because I don't know everybody who's on. And there are many ways to do ha breath. But what we'll do first is we're going to breathe in and slap at the base of the neck. And as we breathe out, we bend at the knee and slap just above the knee. And if you want, you can do a vigorous inhale in and a forceful exhale out, like, or you can do. Let's do it together. Try to stay with me. Don't speed up. Don't slow down. Kind of go with the pace we'll be going. Breath in. 2 more. And then relax. Close your eyes as much as you are comfortable, taking your attention inside. Where has the energy changed most in your body? What do you feel in your fingers and hands? Arms and chest, knees, feet and toes. Observe your thoughts and the rhythm of your breathing. And opening our eyes. So sometimes you need to also have a way to calm down very quickly. So we're going to do a certain kind of breath sequence with some holds. I'll pace you with my voice. We're going to breathe in for 4, hold for 2, out for 4, hold 2 to start. Okay? And we'll use movements. As we breathe in, our arms come up, we hold, and then we breathe out and hold at the bottom of the cycle. Okay, so let's do it. Breath in, 2, 3, 4, hold 2. Breath out, 2, 3, 4, pause 2. Deck, pausa, wydech, 2, 3, 4, pausa 2. Breath in, 2, 3, 4, hold 2, 3, 4. Breath out, 2, 3, 4, pause 2. Breath in. I held you a little longer for a little more stress release. Hold 2. Breath out, 2, 3, 4, pause 2. Breath in. Hold, observe your mind. Breath out, 2, 3, 4, pause 2. Deck, 2, 3, 4, pausa 2. Wydech, 2, 3, 4, pausa 2. Breath in, hold, breath out. Pause the breath and then relax, close your eyes. So especially with this breath, notice the change in your mind, in the kind of thoughts you're having, the speed and pace of the thoughts. Observe the changes inside your body. And what rhythm does your breath want to be in? And opening our eyes. So let's do coherent breathing. Some researchers call it resonant breathing because it sets up a coherence and resonance in our mind, body, spirit, which each of them is usually totally chaotic and disconnected from the others. So this brings them all together, which means you can do the best you can in any situation. And we'll start doing it, pacing it with movement. So just follow me. We're going to be breathing in slowly as the arms come up and breathing out slowly as the arms go down. So stay with me. Breath in, 2, 3, 4. Breath out, 2, 3, 4. Вдох, 2, 3, 4. Выдох, 2, 3, 4. Breath in, 2, 3, 4. Breath out, 2, 3, 4. Breath in, smooth flowing movements. Breath out, 2, 3, 4. Rest a moment, close your eyes, feel the changes inside. And opening our eyes. Now this time when we do it, a loud hum as you breathe out and feel the vibrations through your body. Breath in, 2, 3, 4. Breath in. Вдох. И вон. Вдох. And closing your eyes, just let your arms relax at your sides. Take the attention inside, feeling the changes in your body. In your mind. And in your breath. And opening our eyes, I'll invite you to sit or lie down. So lying down can be nice so that you can relax a great deal, because that really helps with this. If you lie down, you may want to put something under your knees to support your knees so your lower back is flat and not arched in either direction. You can put your legs up on a couch or a chair or with pillows under your knees. If you're sitting, if that's most comfortable for you, that's all right, but have your spine straight. And I was pacing you with my voice, but now we're going to move to using cues to pace your breathing. And let's see, I think.
Ask Megan.
Yeah, so Megan's going to be playing, I think I chose the 2 bells to guide us today. So there are many different pacing cues we could use, but today we'll use the 2 bells. You first have to orient and realize there's a high tone and a low tone. And we're going to breathe in on the high tone and out on the low tone. And first you'll get used to it. We'll be breathing about a third the normal pace, third or fourth of the pace people ordinarily breathe at, which makes you more stressed and you don't know it. But that's what you do when you're no longer a happy, healthy baby. So we're going to begin to reprogram our system to breathe in a way so that everything works better and it lasts for hours after we do the breathing. And I'll be giving you cues to guide you as we go along. So if possible, closing your eyes. If it's hard to close your eyes all the way, you can close them part way and look down about 45 degrees in front of you. So if you want to play the two bells, Megan, that would be great. And also to bring up along the high ridges for at the end. So I think that's a low tone. That's the high tone. So you just have to feel the difference first. Breathing out on the low tone, gentle, continuous, effortless breathing. Breathing in through the nose, gently, gradually, continuously. Breathing out, breathing out, breathing out. Breath in, your belly gets bigger. Breath out, the belly gets smaller. In through the nose, as you breathe in, the belly gets bigger. Breath out through the nose, the belly gets smaller. If your nose is totally stuffed, breathe in and out through your mouth, it's okay. Breath in. Breath out. Feel the breath moving in and out of your nose and throat. Breath in, really feel it. Breath out, feel it leaving your body. When you breathe in, you do not have to fill all of your lungs. When you breathe out, you do not have to squeeze all the air out. Relaxed, effortless, continuous breathing. So as we do this breathing, old stress we've accumulated in our systems begins to get washed away. So just let that happen. Breath in. Breath out. Notice your body relaxing slightly more as you breathe out. Breath in. Breath out, relax the muscles around your eyes and face, your mouth. Breath in. Breath out, relax your scalp, the back of your head and neck. Just soften those muscles. Breath in. Breath out, relaxing the shoulders and arms. Breath in. Breath out. Breath in. Breath out, relaxing the muscles between the ribs and around the spine. Breath in. Breath out. Relax the muscles around your belly and your lower back. Breath out, relaxing your legs and feet. Just let go. When your mind goes someplace else, bring it back to feeling the breath moving inside you. Breath in. Breath out. Whatever distraction comes into your awareness, just let those things float by like clouds going by in the sky. Just let the bells guide your breathing, feeling the breath moving inside you. Like an honored guest coming into and leaving your home. Gently, gently breathing. Understand whatever sensation or image or memory comes. It's part of some old stress getting released. No need to resist it, no need to focus attention on it. Keep your attention on the breath and letting the bells guide you. And if tension comes up somewhere in the body, just let that relax. Breath in, effortless, continuous. Breath out, softer, gently. And if it's feeling like you're working too hard, just imagine a beautiful smile appearing on your face. Like magic. When you're 5 or 6 years old, magic happens a lot more often. Feel the magic of a smile. Imagine what an amazing group of people you're connected to all over the world now. Breathing together. Breath in. Breath out. So the breath connects you, taking you from the outside world to your inner self, your genuine self. Especially the more you let go of old stress. And let's move the breath gently. This is a more advanced way of releasing deep stress. It requires imagination, so pretend you're 5 years old. And just follow my directions. If it feels hard, just breathe in on the high tone and out on the low tone. Feeling the breath moving inside you. Breathe out. Imagine your attention and the breath flow to the base of the spine. As you breathe in, they flow up to the top of the head. Breathe out, down to the base of the spine. Breathe in and up to the top of the head. Breath out, base of the spine. Can you feel a wave of energy moving? Breathing in through your body up to the top of the head. Breath out and down to the base of the spine. It may feel like a wave of water going up inside you to the top of the head. And out and down to the base of the spine. And you may see it in your mind's eye, but feel it more than anything. Or it may feel like a beautiful breeze of wind. on a hot day, freshening the forest. Top of the head as you breathe in. Base of the spine as you breathe out. This is the basic core, which represents our feeling body in a particular place in your brain, or two particular places. Top of the head, imagine energy flowing. Some people see it as shimmering lights going up and down, or a beautiful color, but feel the change as the movement happens. Top of the head, breath in. Base of the spine, breath out. And if the smile's gone away, let the smile come back. Base of the spine as you breathe out. Breath in and up to the top of the head, washing away the old stress, washing it back down into the ocean from the base of the spine. Breathing in on the high tone, you can let go of moving the breath. Breathing out on the low tone. Just feeling the change in your body, in your mind, in your breath. And you can fade the bells out, Megan. Observe the stillness in your body, the sensations in your body. The quality and spacing of your thoughts. The rhythm your breath wants to be in. And now imagine every cell of your body is like an ear, so that you can hear the music more fully than you ordinarily do. Like one of our granddaughters said a couple weeks ago, I listened to the music with my whole body. She's about 3.5. So you can play along the high ridges, Megan. Can you feel the music moving through your body, like the breath move through your body? And you feel certain parts of the music in certain parts of your body and mind. And you can fade the music out. Feel what's happening inside you. And take a deep breath in. And let go. And we'll take another deep breath in and let it out with a long sigh. Breath in. Da. Ah. Feel the changes in your body, in your mind, and in your breath. And when you're ready, you can stretch your arms and legs like a cat awakening from a nap. And I like to see everybody. So I'd invite people to share what you experienced, because each moment is different, each group is different. So we all have an effect upon each other. Juliana?
Hello, Dr. Brown. Thank you so much. I think it's very helpful today for myself and for Ukrainians, because people in Ukraine don't have the luxury today to rest, because we have a siren alerting the potential bombing all day long. So it's I was looking for today's practice. So thank you so much.
Thank you. Дякую. Yeah? Okay. Some of you were experienced and some of you were new.
Well, actually, I will say something. I felt like most of my thoughts stopped, which was very nice because that's so rare.
We're trained to think a lot in many cultures these days. It's good to know when to be able to quiet it and when to use it. Because a lot of thoughts are garbage thoughts, honestly. They're usually expectations and assumptions that are not accurate. Bill?
I had a little trouble getting into it, but once I did, it was very peaceful, as usual.
Yeah. One of the great things about having a large group, it's like jumping into a river that just takes you along.
Yeah. Something about a group.
Peter?
Thank you so much. It was so nice. Also to see you again after a long time. Thank you so much. I enjoyed it. And thanks for inviting me to be today.
Absolutely.
Wonderful.
Alexander?
Доброго вечора. Я тільки попрошу наших дівчат перекласти, бо, скажімо так, з того, що ви казали, я мало що розумів, тільки окремі слова, але я все це відчував. І для мене під час практики було багато таких осяянь, як можна комбінувати, як можна творчо підходити до когерентного дихання.
Actually, Alexander didn't understand much of today's session, but only some words. But he felt a lot, especially during the practice, and he got a lot of interesting insights from like how to do the practices creatively.
Дуже дякую за цей досвід.
Thank you for this experience.
Дуже добре.
Дякую, що приєдналися, Олександр. Thank you for joining.
And we'll get to Hannah and then Beth.
Thank you so much. I enjoyed that. There was a beautiful cycle in your breath that I felt for the first time with the governing and the central meridian moving. It was just so lovely. And I felt a sun moving up and the sun setting down. It was really lovely. I have a couple of questions. I don't know if we can ask technical questions of just what you put in your practice of the movement. Mm-hmm. I was curious what you said, the two parts of the brain that were being affected by that particular part of the movement practice, if it's the homunculus that you're talking about.
The homunculus is the kind of outer boundary of the body, but there's a different place. So the homunculus is kind of lying along the top here, like this. And you have a big thumb and a very big toe and big lips. Okay, they take up a lot of your experience of life. Okay, but this inner cortex, in terms of your feeling, which is where the stress does the most damage, is kind of where my two fingers would intersect on each side. Something called the dorsal posterior insular cortex. And your body's organized from your feet to your head, and there's almost nothing with your arms and legs, and it's your core. And we're just washing the breath right through there to wipe out the accumulated stress. I hate leaving everybody out. Do you want to translate some of that, Juliana?
Well, I guess it's rather technical.
It is technical, yeah.
So if you want to repeat all of this and one of our translators to listen very carefully, even if I don't think that we will find the right words like the moment at the moment.
Okay. In the follow-up
pretty
tomorrow.
advanced.
In the follow-up tomorrow, we might talk about it. Beth? Thanks to Hannah.
Thank you so much, Dr. Brown and Dr. Gerbarg, and all the teachers and people that have made this possible. What I experienced was really feeling that connection and that way of being with people so far away and so close to my heart from many years ago, from people that I don't even know yet, and that there was just this really remarkable phenomenon of connecting in this way that is really only possible when we can settle in the way that this breathing allows us to do, to feel really connected. And that's a blessing for, I think, for all of us. And I would say the bottom line, I just wanted to sing with everyone. That's how I felt. And I felt like in a certain way we already were doing. And just to say one thing about what Deanna had said, I was absolutely doing that. I was having that microcosmic orbit thing happening very, very profoundly. And so it's interesting that she felt that too, because I think we were kind of in sync there. So 1,000 thank yous, and it's lovely to be connected in this way.
So not everybody knows that Beth has done amazing work with military veterans for the last 7 years now.
No, it was about 9.
9 years, okay. Yeah, so she was a child psychiatrist who began to specialize working with veterans, and she brought these practices to them with great results.
It's been a blessing.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you. So I'd like to introduce our first speaker. Her name is Gerbarg Dunford, and she is a level 3 breath, body, mind teacher who combines breathing, artwork, and teaching children. Are you going to give me the whole space? Thank you. Okay. So Gerbarg, please.
Thank you, Dr. Gerbarg, Dr. Brown. Thanks to everybody for being here and for all the interesting comments. It's just so far fantastic, and I'm delighted to be here and to have this opportunity to speak. So I'm based in the west of Ireland. I hope you can all understand my accent. It's like another language. So when you hear Dr. Gerbarg and Dr. Brown speak, you often hear them say, when they talk about consistent breath practice, you often hear them say, some big change will happen. So I'm here to tell you about the little story about my big change. Where to start? Just over a year ago, I had never done any artwork. And now, at the moment, I have an interactive, audio-visual, bilingual exhibition with 27 images and 54 audios. And included in those 54 audios are 27 individual breath practices connecting with each image. So at the moment where it stands in terms of my artwork, I have this exhibition. It has been shown in 2 galleries here in the west of Ireland, a 3rd gallery hopefully in March in Dublin. I am now registered as a professional artist here in Ireland. And the 3rd interesting thing is that I am one of 4 artists that have been commissioned to work with the healthcare executive and hospice staff to support them, staff that are dealing on a daily basis with death and bereavement. So I'm honored to be doing all of this, and I still can't believe that I'm doing all of this. This is like, as Dr. Brown said, the magic that happens when you're 5 or 6. And this is the magic that I felt in this breath art sort of practice. So just to give a little background, I have been teaching mindfulness since 2008. Since about 2017, I've been more focused on the breath work. And always, all of my practices I've always wanted them to be creative and to be earth-based and sort of grounding. Interestingly, I always, almost always, for several years anyway, I've encouraged the children, both the children and the adults that I teach, I've encouraged them to reflect and respond in a kind of an artistic way, even if they have absolutely no idea how to draw or anything. I wasn't doing it, but I was encouraging them to do it because it's a way of responding and reflecting without words, which kind of can be deeper, and something comes out that wouldn't come out with words. But up until June 2021, I hadn't done any artwork myself at all. So in May 2021, an artist, a brilliant artist who wanted to do, he was going to teach a group of international artists about ink, and he wanted to add the breath to the ink. So he approached me and he asked, would I do this? And I was very excited. I thought, oh my God, this sounds great. So we worked together. He introduced me to ink, and I just literally fell in love with ink instantly, which was totally unexpected, actually. I also fell into a little routine at the time. So what I started to do was I'd go for a walk in nature, then I do some breath practice there, and then I just literally play with the ink like a child. And these images just started to come out. All of this happened around the time that my brother Steve was diagnosed with terminal cancer. And this creative routine like really gave me, it really sort of grounded me. It kept me sane, and it gave me a lot of joy at that time. I can honestly say that the images flowed through me rather than from me. And that's actually quite scary because I'm not sure I'm going to be able to do them again. But it all came together as a blend of breath, art, and the Irish language. And I have a real fondness for the Irish language. The exhibition was called Talamh agus Teanga, which means land and language. And Irish is an ancient language that dates back to the 5th century, which is interesting. So there's a deep connection with the earth. And I also see breath as a language. So when I played with my 2 languages and my ink, this is what happened. This is called Gia. Gia is an Irish word that basically in ancient Ireland meant a supernatural entity rooted in nature. And if you'd like to do some coherent breathing just while you're looking at the image, I think that would be nice. So Gia. Whenever you're ready, Dr. Gerbarg. The second image is called Splink. And Splink is a high projecting, pointing rock, usually over a precipice. Splink. This image is called Monin. Mona means bog in Irish, and Monin means little bog. So this is little bog, Monin. This is called Ton, T-O-N-N. I particularly love this word, ton. It means a wave, but it can also mean the entire ocean. Ton. And this is our last image. And this is, I feel all of the words are incredible to me, but this Irish word is particularly amazing because in one word, it means so much. The title of this is called Cáunín. Cáunín. And it means, this is a very long meaning, the goosebumps that you feel when you ponder the interrelatedness of things and realize how small we are in comparison to the whole. So cáunín, the goosebumps that you feel when you ponder the interrelatedness. Sorry, the goosebumps you feel when you ponder the interrelatedness of things and how small we are in comparison to the whole. Cáunín. So all of these images were done with ink and literally done connecting the breath, the earth, and the ink. It was just a joy for me, and without the breath, this would not have happened. It would not have been possible. That was the connection that we were talking about earlier that made this possible. I feel like a child when I do this, and that makes me very happy, and that's the way I want to feel. So consistent practice with the breath does this. So the 27 images are available also for people to interact with the audios online. So you get to hear the Irish word, its meaning, and you get to practice the breath, 1 minute breath practice with each. And the reason I wanted it to be available online as well as in galleries here in Ireland was so that people that are limited in some way, maybe can't leave the house or they're in hospital or for some other reason in a different country even, that they could interact with the images as well. And also maybe send a link of one of the images that they would think would be beneficial to somebody in terms of taking a breath, taking a moment and connecting with themselves and with nature and inner nature, basically. So all that's left for me to say is thank you to all of you. And I'd like to say that in Irish. So it is Gura Míle Maithagaibh Go Léir. Thank you.
Thank you, Gerbarg, for that beautiful presentation. We really love those images. Beautiful. Our next presenter is Jody Manuel. And as many of you know, she's a level 4 breath, body, mind teacher who is based in the UK. And she's the founder of Special Yoga, which is a system she developed using yoga for special needs children. And she has been collaborating with us to integrate breath with special yoga as we are developing our programs for children. And we consider children who have trauma to have special needs. So that's quite a few children on our planet. So Jody, please welcome, and we'd love to hear from you.
Thank you so much. So thank you, from my heart to you both, Dr. Brown, Dr. Gerbarg. I came into the Breath, Body, Mind family about 6 years ago, 5-6 years ago, I'm not sure. And I was immediately taken by the ethos and the love that I experienced with the way in which the practices were taught, and also the impact that we as the adults around the children, it's really important that we are regulated and that we are open-hearted. And that's the same ethos that we sit with at Special Yoga. So I immediately felt like I was home. I've worked with the BBM practices extensively, as I always do with myself first. And then what I found was that there were different ways of adapting them for different situations, different circumstances and different conditions of children. So yesterday, I just give an example. Yesterday, I was I'd been invited to participate in a documentary about autism, and one of the young autistic girls that we brought in had arrived, literally collapsed. I mean, she was in absolute meltdown, absolute terror, hair over her face, wasn't breathing well. I mean, just completely shut down, sobbing. And I knew I had to get her on camera, hopefully anyway, within a short space of time. And I found that I used the coherent breathing just to help her to calm, you know, so my heart, my voice, and so on and so forth. But when I stay really calm and I'm in that coherent pattern, then what happens is that the energy around me shifts. And of course, this child calmed down. And when she started to speak on camera about what it felt like to be autistic, her mother's mouth had dropped open with absolute amazement at how she was able to share, given 10 minutes ago, how she'd arrived. So there are just different ways of how I've experienced and witnessed the use of these practices. A few months ago, when the war started to break out in the Ukraine, I had twice it happened actually. I had 2 calls on WhatsApp video from numbers I didn't recognize, and normally I don't pick that stuff up, but for some reason I got called to on both occasions, and on both occasions they were mothers who had hysterical children. I mean really hysterical children, where the mothers were unable to get the children down into safety in the Ukraine, and the bombs were going off in the background, and the mother was very hysterical. The child was even more hysterical, and I used a lot of the BBM practices to support the mother to regulate herself, to allow her then to enable the child to calm enough to be able to take them down into safety. And it was I have to say, both situations were incredibly emotional for me. And on the back of that, I think I emailed Dr. Gerbarg and I said, we have to do something bigger. Because if it was just happening to those 2, it was happening to an awful lot of families, an awful lot of children. And with, you know, the amazing practices and with absolute grace, we got those children down into safety. So I'm very honored and very delighted to be part of the program helping in the Ukraine, where we're training up psychologists in particular, and I imagine parents are going to be part of that as well, to help the children to manage the highly traumatic experiences that they're in at the moment, and to hopefully reduce the level of PTSD that would otherwise arise as a result of the experiences. So one of the beautiful things about the BBM practices is they can be used individually, as I've shared in those 2 cases, but they can also be used in big groups. Just before COVID, I was in West Africa, in Senegal, where I went into a school to introduce the BBM practices. And I had all 700 children in the big field outside the school rooms doing practices with me, which we'd like to show you. Thank you, Dr. Gerbarg. So the outcome of that was the children after the session, a few of the older children came to say to me, that was amazing. Why am I doing this? And the teachers reported that the children went back into the classrooms calmer than they'd ever seen them. And the teacher said they slept better. There's a huge amount of trauma in West Africa, as there is in innumerable parts of the world. So you can really see that these practices have massive impact in all sorts of circumstances and all sorts of situations. And it's really, as I said, a privilege to be able to use them and work with them and to help the children. So thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Jody, for sharing just a tiny glimpse of the enormous work that you've been doing over many, many years all over the world for children. So we're delighted that you're with us, and thank you. So our next speaker is Elena Falcone. She is a Breath, Body, Mind Level 3 teacher and the Director of Public Innovation and Engagement at the Westchester Library System in Westchester, New York. And she is an incredibly dynamic teacher and organizer. And I'm just going to let her tell you about some of the incredible programs that she's been doing.
Terrific, Pat. Thank you. Have my slides ready if you don't already have them. Hello, everyone. Those videos that Durval and Jyoti shared are just so wonderful. I have been involved with Breath, Body, Mind since 2019 and 2018, actually. And it's because I'm a librarian. Librarians do all kinds of interesting things, but largely in the area of education and information. And I was doing a program about trauma and trying to educate and raise awareness among the general public and also agencies in my county about the impact of trauma. And in that came to understand that if people started to explore that and understand it, they had few resources that they could turn to that could make them feel a little better as they work their way through that. And it was with that question, what else can we do, that Breath, Body, Mind stepped in, thanks to a referral from a dear friend in this large network of concerned agencies. And I wound up going to a fundamentals training up in Elmira, New York. Brian Hart is here, who's the person who sort of really connected me in there. And at that fundamentals and level 1 training, I just was blown away by the combination of experience and data. So I was there going, oh, it's breathing. What the heck are they talking about? And then the experience and Pat's amazing presentation of the research data behind it both did the head and the heart business on me, so that I really walked out of there ready to be a bit of an evangelist in my county for this. So with that, Pat, would you put up the slides? I'm always arguing with folks about, what do libraries do? And I wanted to have this really fit in with the model for what we were about. And let's go to that next slide, Pat. So I came back determined to make sure that we could provide public programs about breath, body, mind, and make that available. So free public programming is something that libraries do. And I wanted to build capacity. I couldn't be the only trainer in Westchester County. So we really wanted to make sure that the schools, local government, agency staff were able to touch on this. Although we quickly wound up in a role of not just trying to promote training, but also providing staff wellness opportunities, especially as COVID emerged. And I, of course, being a librarian, I wanted to leverage this work to promote relevant library services. We have so much in your public library, in my 38 public libraries in Westchester. There's so much that can help people, but they can't connect with it if they're so shut down by the stresses of their lives. And there are many. So we go to that next slide, Pat. So I did what we do, which is I'm the director of outreach. We took this work and started directing it to the audiences that had particular needs. So we were in senior homes. We were with youth bureaus, at-risk youth, agencies serving adults who have intellectual disabilities, reentry populations. I do a lot of work there. And we wound up getting invited. Every time I'd go to an organization, it was clear, yeah, my staff could really use this with their clients, but they are too stressed themselves to take a step in any new direction. So we became the group that offered pop-up wellness trainings. And we created a lot of collateral materials that we could direct people to. So there then became a website with a list of available classes. and a lovely fold out card that we now have in English and Spanish that I can hand people and say, try this stuff out. Come to one of our free classes and see how that works. So outreach was something we did consistently. And let's go to the next slide. And boy, those free public programs turned out to be gangbusters. So we had them in person and then ultimately on Zoom giving us an amazing reach around the county. So this one trainer became multiple trainers because I could then also point to the Zoom programs that were available through other teachers who were willing to receive students, particularly Anne Fluchis, who's flagged there. She was wonderful in providing sort of this whole free weekly program series. I was her backup initially, and now I've become much more confident in teaching those classes as well. And there's a picture here, actually back up one second, Pat, there's a picture in the corner of a bunch of teens. So hard to get teens to come into this, but when you do, they really can become quite engaged. One of them works with folks who have intellectual disabilities, and she goes into group homes and does some, embeds this training in there. Another was a young woman herself who was from that population, and she has been doing breathing practices with her friends at the residence every day, which is just delightful to hear. We'll go on to that next slide. So in addition to offering free public programs, we also made fundamentals workshops available. And we had our first one was in 2019. I got Dr. Brown and Dr. Gerbarg to come in for that. It was fabulous. We got a big grant to make it all happen. And from 2019 to now, I'm still reaping the benefits of people who were engaged in that program, who finally are saying, I'm doing the practices, I really want to learn more. So it's just taken some time. We did some of the first online programs with all of the breath, body, mind teachers. And then in this year, the real payoff has been getting to do 3 fundamentals workshops, 2 of them in particular in person, where people that I've been working on for a couple of years finally came through. And that group right there with Linda Lentini and I as the 2 core instructors, this was the Department of Health for Westchester County. They had to fight to get the time release for all of these staff to come and be there. And this is probation, the WIC program, foster care. It's just fabulous that they're all there. And about a half a dozen or more of them want to get teacher training. So I'm delighted. So we'll go to the next slide. And we even won an award, which was really great. The Westchester County gave us a Public Health Service Award. I didn't even want to apply for it. I just thought, oh, they're not going to give us an award. And the person who actually turned me on to this, he's the one who wrote up our application. And just having gotten this award was so helpful, and it gave us a little bit more weight within our community for getting people to pay attention to the programming that we were doing. So I have a nice piece of plastic and a certificate, and I have those words that I can use when I promote the program. So I wanted to give you a sense. So we'll go to the next slide, Pat. I wanted to give you a sense of what we were doing with this, because it's not typical, as I had to explain to my board, what are libraries doing, offering breathing instruction. And I had to explain things like this to them about the power for our network, about the amazing assistance it offers to our patrons, about the service that it offers to our own staff. And so my takeaway is just, it really does take persistence and patience. If I had stopped after 2020 with COVID, we wouldn't have been able to reach out to the hundreds of people who came to our classes. The follow-up with everyone really mattered. We'd have this roster of people, and I'd call them up and say, we do have those free classes. And I'd call them again 3 months later. We do have those free classes. And when people are ready, they hear it. It was so good for our network. I'm closer now, more intimately involved with the Department of Health, the Department of Community Mental Health, probation, parole, 1 or 2 school districts. This really makes a difference. And the BBM resources are so impressive. I love promoting the healing power of the breath, now in multiple languages and available as an audiobook, because they're good reads. They're available for free from the public library as well. But they are really good reads, and they make all the difference. The videos that are publicly available of Dr. Gerbarg explaining the science, Dr. Brown explaining the exercises, fabulous. And yay for COVID? No, yay for Zoom. Zoom, because of COVID, gave us amazing reach. And I'm so grateful that we have this ability to be helpful across the sea, to be there when people, where and when people could really use this. So thank you, Dr. Brown and Dr. Gerbarg, and to all of the teachers who made this possible. I flagged on there Anne and Linda, but a lot of the teachers who were here, we've all worked together to make these trainings available, and people have assisted. And it's just been amazing, the community that has emerged out of this.
Thank you so much, Elena, for that really, I said she was dynamic presentation. And for mentioning our Audible book, which just got released, and that has Dr. Brown and myself, we are actually reading the book to you, and there is some new material in this version of it, so you can add that to your holiday list, I hope. Get a little plug-in. Anyway, it's all good. Thank you so much, Elena, for the great work you've been doing. Our next speaker is known as perhaps the most dynamic Latin dancer, also does other forms of ballroom, and that's what he's best known for. But he's also known as the wonderful Dr. Angel Brana, level 4 breath, body, mind teacher from Florida, who brought breath, body, mind to San Baptiste School of Medicine in Puerto Rico. So Angel, please. Give us your wisdom.
Thank you very much for that tremendous introduction. First of all, thank you very much for the invitation. I think that it's very important that we present the tremendous work that you have been doing and all instructors. I'm a preventive medicine specialist with several subspecialties aligned with prevention diseases. And I was very fortunate to meet Karen 4 years ago. I'm becoming a regular teacher of the BBM program. Personally,
could you please come a little more forward so we can hear you? That's better. Yeah. It's good if you just come a little forward, it'll be good.
Okay, so do you hear me well?
Yes, good, thank you.
Okay, so personally, I have been very close to trauma. Personally, individually, and with communities, since I have worked for many years as a first responder in disasters in the US and training first responders in Mexico. And for 20 years, I've been working with psychologists in a 2-year fellowship on behavioral health for psychologists in Florida State College of Medicine. And let me tell you that as an avid reader, I have read every single reference that have come to my mind, my hands on books on body-mind methods. But I assure you that all the interventions rely on cognitive methods and occupy too much the thinking process. And even the meditative practices calm, but in a less alert, in a more or less task-oriented state. While breath, body, mind bring us awareness instead of calmness. So we thought that seeing the crisis in terms of physicians, medical students that are going through, we thought that we should test, we should explore and evaluate the program, the breath, body, mind fundamentals, actually, with first and second year medical students at San Baptiste School of Medicine in Puerto Rico. And our hope was that they would gain knowledge and skills to quickly reduce stress and anxiety, help them improve stress resilience over time, improve their mental health, their physical health, personal relationships, the capacity to study, to interpret and remember information, and the executive functions of the clinical provider. We use standard measures to measure anxiety, mood, feeling states, quality of sleep, and the results are consistent with what have been demonstrated in previous studies of the BBM program. significantly increase feelings of calmness and tranquility, improve mood, anxiety, sleep, energy, attitude, mental focus, clarity, awareness, connectedness, empathy. And this indicates the widespread shifts in the psychophysiological state, sympathophysiological balance, the emotional regulation, the cognitive function, the executive function, and relatedness to others. These benefits were maintained and further enhanced with the regular practice over time. Although the study was a small participant group, was small, what is most important that it was a statistically significant improvement that was documented and a testament of the high impact of the program. I believe that the greatest success of our program is that the school already designated time for the Breath Body Mind program as part of the regular curriculum that would enable more students to participate and acquire the necessary skills to reduce the effects of stress and their own physical and psychological health. Because physicians from the very beginning need to learn how to integrate mind-body practices so they can impact better care and enhance outcomes. Needless to say that we really have an epidemic on alderal use in physicians that is being normalized as a mechanism to maintain focus on a very stressful practice that we have had in the last 2 years. So for me, it's outrageous that we are using drugs to maintain alertness, while we have more simple physiological program like our program with Body Mind. So I hope that our experience gets replicated in other medical schools, and we will keep enforcing, we will keep trying to make them part of the curriculum because students are only focused on what the curriculum assigns to do. Otherwise, the knowledge that they have to learn, the information that they have to gain catch their attention despite the stress that they're going through. So thank you very much again for this opportunity to share our success because it has been really successful.
Thank you so much, Angel. And I know you spent so much time with the medical students and all of that was very much appreciated by them. And your ongoing work with us has really been so supportive and inspiring. So thank you, Angel. Now, our next speaker is Maria Comacross, who is a Breath Body Mind Level 1 teacher in Spain, and she has taken on teaching an enormous number of high school students in Spain. And when I heard about it, I was so overwhelmed. I just wanted her to come and talk and meet all of you. So welcome.
Thank you very much, Pat. Hi, everybody. I'm delighted to be here. And thanks for inviting me, Dr. Gerbarg, Dr. Brown and Dr. Gerbarg. So I'm from Barcelona. I'm a yoga teacher for cancer patients at the OncoYiga Foundation, which is a foundation that gives psychosocial services to people undergoing cancer treatment and also provides awareness raising and prevention to citizens. So in 2019, the foundation created a program for schools called Encomana Salud in Catalan, which means spread health, to teach teenagers healthy lifestyle habits in the context of cancer prevention. So the program is offered as part of a curricular activity called community service, which gives tools to integrate those healthy lifestyle habits in their life and also fosters students' participation to improve their community's quality of life and well-being. So we decided to introduce the BBM practices, techniques, as part of the program to teach all those students, high school students, tools to balance their stress, to reduce their anxiety and to reduce their stress, to reduce their anxiety and balance their emotions as a self-regulation practice and also as a preventive practice. So I'm super happy to tell you that nowadays, Thanks to this program, the BBM techniques had arrived to more than 3,500 students, high school students of Catalonia, which is a region of Spain, with the main center, the main city is Barcelona. So before the pandemic, we were doing it presential, but because of COVID, we had to make it virtual. And that helped us to arrive to much more schools, and the number is constantly increasing. So to make it virtual, we created a guided session that students practice in their schools with the help of their teachers. These sessions last 1 hour more or less, and it starts with a little explanation of BBM techniques, followed by a practice that starts with shaking, then we do half breath, then we do 4/4 breath, and at the end we do the 2 bells pacing, and at the end we do a relaxation with body scan technique. So when we were doing it presential, that gave me the opportunity to really see the impact and the great power of those techniques. The groups were quite large. Some of them were 40 students, 30 students. And at the beginning, the energy was hectic because we were doing the session in the middle of their day, maybe after a math class. And it was, they didn't expect what they were going to do. So at the beginning, it was hectic. And students were distracted. But at the end of the session, as the techniques were advancing, the energy was changing. And at the end, the peace and serenity was palpable. And something I could see, which impressed me a lot, was that some of the students that were more hyperactive at the beginning of the session, the guys that were distracting the other students, making jokes, etc., at the end, they had a very introspective mood. The feeling was as if they didn't expect the calm they were feeling inside. And it was very, very interesting to see. At the end of the session, students approached us, telling us that things like asking us for tips to give to their parents, for instance, no? Like, my dad has a lot of anxiety because of job. Can you help? Can we help him with these tools? And then at the end of the session also, we, before ending, we asked them to summarize the experience with a word. And they always say the same words, no? They were saying things like peace, calm, gratitude, tranquility. So it was a very pleasure and beautiful experience. So thank you for all these techniques and the opportunity to bring them to so many students. Thank you.
And thank you so much for the amazing work you've been doing. 3,000 high school students in Barcelona, Spain. Unbelievable. Thank you so much. And I hope you'll inspire some of our teachers to undertake getting this into more school systems here. It's so important that the young people have this. There's so much in need. So thank you again for coming and continue wonderful work. Thank you.
Thank you.
So we're going to take another leap, geographically speaking, and ask for a presentation from our wonderful Dr. Jean Bosco Nayonzima, who spoke last year and is going to bring us up to date a bit on what's been happening with his programs in Rwanda. So please, we welcome you, Jean Bosco, and let me know when you want me to put your slides up.
Thank you, Gerbarg. And thank you to you all for being here with us. I was born and raised in Rwanda, near the Democratic Republic of Congo. In the Rwanda genocide in 1994, I fled to Democratic Republic of Congo. My eyes have seen all evil things that a man can see on this earth, including thousands of corpses strewed all over the roads, of people dying from hunger, to diarrhea, to dehydration, or simply killed. Back home, a lot of places were lifeless, with a lot of devastations. I had lost a lot of friends and family members. Myself, I miraculously survived from a gunfire. In fact, one day, as I was walking with two friends, one of them was shot dead, but I survived. All that painful experience engulfed me in a severe trauma with existential crisis. I wrestled with 3 questions. Does God exist? What is the meaning of life? And what is my purpose in it? I struggled with those questions for 7 years. Fortunately, I met a spiritual mentor who introduced me to the practice of Tai Chi and Qigong, and also accompanied me in the work of awareness, which helped me to heal from my trauma. This will actually inspire me to develop a community-based social healing model that we are currently using for trauma healing and addressing other common mental disorders through Ubuntu Center for Peace. In Rwanda, around 1 in 5 people are suffering from trauma, and 50% of genocide survivors live with trauma and common mental disorders. And not only people are suffering from individual traumas, but also from collective traumas with poverty, a lot of sexual, domestic violence. And this has crossed the borders to DRC, the Democratic Republic of Congo, Burundi, and other countries. Next. Unfortunately, only 85% of those who need mental health care services don't have it. Next. Ubuntu Center for Peace that I co-founded is here to help bridge the gap, and we integrate breath, body, mind practices with collective narrative and rituals. And these are delivered through community healing assistants whom we recruit from the communities. We train them in BBM and in group facilitation, and also with other techniques. And then they go in the community, recruit those who are suffering from, who have symptoms of trauma and common mental disorders. They form healing groups of around 20 people, and they go through a healing journey for 15 weeks. And then after the graduation, therapeutic groups transition to long-term support groups that we often call self-help groups, and they do additional activities, including solidarity work, loan circles, and even cooperatives. Last year, So far we have trained over 232 community healing assistants who have reached 5,000 people. And last year, Dr. Gerbarg and Brown trained 6 people of my team who in turn trained 32 community healing assistants who have joined others to serve over 2,000 people. And so last year, we have, with 32 community healing assistants, we have reached around 2,000 people. And we have conducted, pre and post intervention study, and results are amazing. So we have depression decreasing from 62% to 19%, anxiety disorders decreasing from 62% to 16%, and PTSD decreasing from 17% to 4%. I just want to show you the figures. So as you can see, the figures on depression. Here, you can see that the magnitude of depression, like the severity of depression, has shifted from the right to the left, compensated to none and minimal depression, and for a lower degree of severity. This implies that the intervention has significantly and positively impacted participants' life situations. Next. It's the same with anxiety. Next. And this shows the impact on PTSD, which significantly reduced from 17% to 4%. Next. So here it's about disability. And if we look at the figures, the lost days due to disability has decreased for almost half, as in a post intervention, as compared to the pre-intervention, where people were losing almost a week for within a month. Next. Now, this shows how children from parents who were affected by mental health, their school attendance improved, and you can see how the dropout from the school reduced from 1.1 to 0.25. Next. Regarding the domestic violence, you can see that the figure suggests a decrease in domestic violence from 25.2% to 9.8%. And also there was improvement in terms of consultation within married couples anytime they had issues instead of using violence. Next. And so also the study, like the evaluation, showed us that there was a reduction of people living in conflicts from 18% to 5.3%. And these people have reconciled. But we also have recorded different testimonials and stories where most of people were seriously depressed or who had gone through trauma for over 27 years. would say, I was almost dead, but now I'm alive. Or those who have been in conflicts within families or separated. Say, one family, one couple said, we were in hell for 7 years of fight and separated, but now we are in honeymoon. And also, children went back to school and parents are very happy for that. But also the local authorities are proud of this approach because there are a number of issues that they have been struggling with, especially conflicts in families. And now they say, okay, we are really happy that, you know, the time we have been losing because of these conflicts and we were not able to do to help them. Now we are very proud of you that you are helping us resolving them. And 3 weeks ago, one lady who is a genocide survivor told us, I want to testify that BBM works because I'm alive and I can sleep now and I have reconciled with my husband. I mean, she said that BBM has helped her to become softer, which has also impacted on her husband. Next. Now, our ambition is to reach at least 4 countries within the next 10 years, including Rwanda, Democratic Republic of Congo, Burundi, and South Sudan. And we want to train over 26,000 community healing assistants who can serve over 1.5 million of people suffering from trauma and common mental disorders. So we need your support as we spread our breath revolution work. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Jean Bosco. And again, my apologies for the slides glitching, but I think that given all the things and all the obstacles you encounter, this was probably a very minor one. Your courage, your persistence through so many extreme situations, surviving the genocide and all of that, you are really a treasure for your country and a treasure for us. So we hope we can continue to support you and the development of more and more teachers and spreading to other countries in Africa. Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you for your support. And thank you for all you do for us.
Okay, so Joanna Harper, is Joanna here? Wonderful. Joanna is a breath, body, mind level 4 teacher in the UK. And she has just published her new book, The Trauma Informed Coach, which includes teaching some breath, body, mind practices. Joanna is being level 4, of course, one of our lead teachers, one of our busiest teachers. And she's been a tremendous support to us in the growth and development and teaching in Ukraine, including the practice sessions as well as the courses. She just doesn't know how to say no. I can't imagine why, but we love having her here. And so Joanna, please, oh, here it is.
It arrived in time. That was good timing.
Yes, it's a beautiful, beautiful book, and anyone interested in learning that. So please, Joanna, now.
Thank you. What Dr. Gerbarg didn't mention is she wrote the foreword and that there are breath, body, mind practices in the book. It's not just my book. So yeah, I feel honoured that that was able to happen in time because I started writing the book long before doing the BBM training. So much of my involvement with breath, body, mind happened through Zoom. I've never met anybody in the BBM community in person. It's all happened through Zoom. And so I can thank Zoom and being in very long UK lockdowns, having the time and space to actually attend the training and then become involved in the teaching and bringing Breath Body Mind to the UK and European time zones. So as a result of not just being able to attend, but being able to come and practice and become, feel like part of a community of like-minded souls. I'd already discovered breathing and mindfulness techniques many years ago. Went on the original, I think it was your very first online program. And within a couple of minutes, I was thinking, I don't even know how to breathe. Whereas I thought I knew so many things, and I just learned so much from that program and just, you know, became so involved and wanted to share the practices with people in my own time zone, but also I have a particular interest in trauma, hence the nature of my book. And I first came across Dr. Gerbarg. Personally, I'd already read The Healing Power of Breath a long time before and put it on the shelf and kind of forgotten about it. And then I was due to attend the Trauma Summit in Ireland that Dr. Gerbarg was presenting at. And it went online like everything else in 2020. So I watched the video here, home alone, and saw the presentation and thought, I really want to train with them. I wonder if they're training online. And at that point, I don't think you were, but it was in progress. But I saw the video that was shown of Dr. Brown in South Sudan and saw the shift in such simple breathing practices on the physiology and the faces of the people, particularly the children. And I can feel the emotion arising already, but I sat here and cried because it was so powerful to see something so simple make such a big shift to a community that had been enslaved and didn't know what was going on. And my own voluntary work had been in Kenya, and so I'd been supporting a school since 2000 and had gone out to volunteer and teach in the school as a volunteer a couple of times. So my immediate thought then went to the school and, wow, wouldn't it be amazing if we could bring these practices to the school? So through the power of Zoom, we managed to get Zoom into the school and train 2 teachers in the school. So my involvement, as Dr. Gerbarg says, I don't think I know how to say no. I've kind of pushed a lot of my other work to one side to focus more on BBM because I'm interested in what works and what helps people. And I think BBM really does. And it helps people in a way that other talking therapies don't seem to touch people's hearts and makes shifts so quickly. So I've been intent on building a UK and European team so that Dr. Gerbarg and Dr. Brown and the American teachers don't have to get up before they go to bed to come and teach on that time zone, or we don't have to be up till really late doing programs. So that we've now been able to offer 3 programs on European time and have just recently completed the level 1 training, which is the first program where I held the space essentially for the wonderful teachers, and Linda helped us, and it was just amazing to be able to do that. And we had people from Ukraine and Turkey on that program. So it was wonderful to be able to bring that and share it with such a wider community. But we also have people zooming in from all over the world. So although my intention was that it would be for Europeans and people from the UK, actually we had people from pretty much every continent. So it was inspirational to be able to do that. And I know I also want to just mention the Ukraine program, because in those early days, Jyoti's already mentioned it, when we came together of what could we do and how could breathing possibly help. I just said, well, whatever you're doing, I'll be a part of it. And I can remember on the first crisis program, there was one lady who I believe is on this call and may even be speaking later. I just gave my email address to and said, I've got a program running this weekend and I've got regular classes. If you want to come, come. And she did, but we got the time wrong. So just as everything was ending, she logged in with a friend. And rather than just say, oh, sorry, you're too late, I decided let's breathe together and see what we can do, because I could see the stress on their faces and I wanted to see what we could do just with a small amount of time. During the crisis program, they've been introduced to breathing buddies by Dr. Gerbarg, the idea of breathing with a little soft toy. And I said, have you got a breathing buddy to hand? And neither of them did, but they went off and found something that they could use as a breathing buddy. And it wasn't a toy, I think, and I may be corrected if I'm wrong, but one had a pair of socks and one had a hat, but they breathed with their little breathing buddies. And as they started to do that, I started to see them relax more than I had just doing the breathing practices. So since then, and there's people from Ukraine who talk more about what has been happening, I've just volunteered my time to be part of that training program, but also to run a regular Friday practice. There's also a practice on a Monday, but for many months until the training started to happen on a Friday, we had a Friday practice group, and two of the translators who helped me with that are here today. Because it was more than just the practices, it was the coming together, the sense of community that we had coming together as a group on a Friday, and the chats that we had before and after that were just as powerful. And so what people shared was how restorative it was, how important it was to feel cared for, remembered and supported. So I can see Juliana crying, so she's going to set me going now. So I think it's time to stop talking and say thank you to all of you. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Joanna, for sharing that. And we love it when you share your heart as well as your very brilliant mind. So thank you for all the work that you've been doing. And I'm sorry we took away your Friday group. We have to find a way to give that back to you. Thank you so much. So now we come to our guests, our teachers, our friends from Ukraine, and we're going to begin with two women who started as translators for us and then blossomed into so much more. You'll be hearing from Helen Spian and Juliana Bosnick. Is Juliana here? Wonderful. They're going to talk about their experiences. Helen has become a board member. She did tremendous work translating for us initially until we were able to get more reliable translators. Juliana came in and she was so enthusiastic that she actually became sort of the head of our trainers. She wasn't shy at all. She just wanted to take over. So I said, fine, you can do that. She went on to create a translator's manual because she wanted to make sure that when the people were translating, they not only translated the words, but also the emotion and the supportive tones and all of those qualities that are so important in conveying these practices, the caring and the softness that we needed. So I'm going to let the two of you speak for yourselves and express our tremendous gratitude that you found us and we found you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Gerbarg. I'll repeat again. My name is Helen Spian. I was born and lived in Ukraine until March this year, when I had to leave my country, fleeing the war. We stayed as a family in Romania for 2 months, and then we decided to move to Calgary in Canada. When the war started and I was forced to leave the city and the country I loved, I experienced deep stress, sleep disorder. I lost sense of purpose, and I cried for hours every day, especially when I heard music or sound of the sea that reminded me of my native city. So it was in this state that my encounter with the BBMF occurred. And then gradually I started to notice how much stronger I felt, thanks to the caring support of BBMF team. Dr. Gerbarg and Dr. Brown gave so much of human warmth to all of us. They generously shared the time and knowledge they have. They provided this much sought after structure of the week, as we had sessions 3 times per week. They cared about minor details in their work with Ukrainians. For example, it was their idea to translate the song Walk a Mile into Ukrainian. They scientifically and morally justified whatever whims people in the group had. For some, it was hard to do certain types of breathing, or certain techniques could arise hurtful or unexpected sensations. So then Dr. Gerbarg and Dr. Brown would quickly step in to find an alternative. And together with the powerful effect of the breathing exercises themselves, the experience was highly transformative to me. In Ukraine, I had a degree in linguistics, and I worked as a teacher for more than 20 years. And I also did yoga, so I've always been fascinated by the effect of words on human psyche. I found personal fulfillment watching people in the group become more open, more resilient, more stable, and filled with gratitude. So now I would like to ensure that as many people as possible feel the improvements that I and all the Ukrainian group experienced while working with Dr. Gerbarg and Dr. Brown. So I'm honored to meet all of you here. Thank you very much again. And thank you for contributing into this helpful, important, and so much needed work. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Helen. Thank you for sharing all of that. And I did want to also mention that I gave Helen the task of translating the song Walk a Mile into Ukrainian, and she just became unexpectedly inspired and just had never done anything like it. And then she did such a beautiful job. So thank you so much for that as well. You were willing to go for it. So now I'd like to invite Juliana. Are you okay to talk? You okay? Okay.
Thank you, Helen. You gave me the time to come back to my feelings after tears of gratitude to Joanna. So it's my honor to be invited to this event and celebrate the accomplishments of BBMF together with all of you. It's also my joy to be able to say thank you for making BBM relief programs for Ukraine possible. BBM practices have immensely helped me to overcome my personal psychological struggles, but today I would like to express an enormous gratitude from all Ukrainians who already benefited from those programs. So many times I have heard from my compatriots how important is the safe space filled with care, warmth, and humanity that Dr. Brown, Dr. Gerbarg, Joanna, Linda, and Anne, and other senior BBM teachers have created for them in the classes. The safe space that they lack so much in their everyday lives. Maybe even the only safe space where they can stop worrying about being in danger, at least for a little while, relax and get rid of accumulated stress from living in war zone. BBM practices also help them to restore their energy in order to be able to help those in need to care about their families, to work, to sleep, in other words, to live, which also means to resist to the evil spreading through our country. I have also noticed how Ukrainian psychotherapists have been inspired by the outcomes of so many successful BBM programs around the world. It gives them a hope that after we win this war, it is possible to heal the wounds of millions of Ukrainians, rather than remain devastated and overwhelmed by ruins and death that Russian army left behind. And they have already started the process of healing with their patients. Last but not least, Ukrainians are endlessly thankful for constant support and help from people around the world. It provides us with a reliable background of strength and stability, as well as of confidence that together we can definitely defend and protect the freedom and justice in the world we want to live in. Thank you so much to everyone who has contributed to that.
Well, Julianne, I have to say, now we're all crying. So thank you for the beautiful feelings and words you have shared with us. I'm going to start crying, but that was really quite beautiful. So thank you. So our next speakers, also from the Ukraine, are two outstanding Ukrainian psychologists. And we have a translator, Natalia Kuznetska. I believe Luda was not able to log on.
She's here.
She is. Okay. So,
she's here.
Oh, okay, wonderful.
Luda is here. Yes.
Good. Hello, Nuna. Good to see you. We have you all. So I want to briefly introduce you. Lyudmila Moskalenko, we call Luda, is the president of the Ukrainian Association of Positive Psychotherapy and an associate professor, a chair of psychology and pedagogic at the Ukrainian Humanitarian Institute in Bucha, Kiev, Ukraine. She's also a Breath, Body, Mind Level 1 teacher. And she has been tremendously helpful in bringing the psychologists and other psychotherapists of Ukraine to our programs. And for that, we thank her. Our other speaker from Ukraine is Dr. Tatiana Vachulova. She is a major in the Civil Protection Service of Ukraine and serves on the State Emergency Service of Ukraine in the Poltava region. She's also in the Positive Psychotherapy Association, and she has also provided tremendous leadership and service in bringing Breath, Body, Mind to so many groups as she serves in the war zone areas and the hospitals and for the emergency services, which she'll tell you a little bit about. Quite remarkable services she's providing. And of course, we have Natalia Kuznetsova, who is one of our translators, and she is going to help translate today. She's also a psychotherapist with the Psychotherapy Association. So please, we'd like to begin. I believe Lyudmila is going to speak first.
Yes.
Could we spotlight Lyudmila? Thank you.
Thank you very much. It's so important for us to be here today with you. This simple word to breathe, for us now, it means to live, to have the future. And this beautiful logo with sunflower, it's very important for us. And really this BBM practices, it's not about really beautiful healing techniques, but it's more. it's about healing relationships. We have about 900 psychologists and psychotherapists in our association. And the most important thing for us in the beginning of this terrible war was to save mental health of our psychologists and psychotherapists, because we are, as other citizens, we lose our homes, we lose our family members and friends, we are refugees, or we stay in our native town under the bombing, under the rocket attacks, without electricity, water. And we must cope with all our stress and trauma, and we must continue to have our practice. And now we have another difficult task to help large groups of people with stress and trauma. And we thank BBM Foundation for every week practice sessions for us, a lot of free seminars. And we have now 4 groups, fundamental BBM course, and about 200 our psychologists and psychotherapists. They took part in this education, and now we have 40 BBM level 1 teachers. The most important is that we saved these people. Each story of my colleague who or she or he with a lot of difficult experience, and this they were smiling on the end of the sessions. All teachers saw it. Really, we saved them, and now they can save another people. They can help another people, and they will hope to continue it. Now we have a lot of education from abroad, but your education and BBM, it's a special education because it's not only about techniques, it's about relationship. It's about love, care, and we feel it, and it helped us to survive and to be here and to smile and to talk to you. And now I want to ask Tatiana to share her experience, because he is a really great extreme psychologist, and he apply BBM in her practice every day. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Luda, for sharing. And we know you are under a tremendous load of work and stress all the time. And we are so, as you know, you are heroes.
Я всіх вітаю. Знайомство з тренерами BBM відбулося у березні 2022 року.
Greetings to everyone. We met BBM trainers in March of 2022.
Травень, простукування під музику мультфільму «Король Лев» та дихання з рухами дозволило відновлюватися дітям, які прибули з зони бойових дій та вимушені були ховатися у метро Києва та Харкова.
In May, we used tapping and breathing with movements with kids, in working with kids who arrived from the combat zone, and they had to hide in subway of Kiev and Kharkov during air raid alerts.
Квітень-червень, північний професновий вузол, де я знаходжусь у районі, піддався 4 ракетним ударам. Кількість ракет щоразу від 4 до 10. Групова та індивідуальна робота з працівниками підприємств дозволила зменшити стрес.
And from April through June, there were missile strikes at the Northern Industrial Hub. There were 4 missile strikes with 4 to 10 missiles each time. And we worked with personnel in personnel recovery, and group work as well as individual work helped them recover significantly after the missile strikes.
Травень. Зважаючи на постійні повітряні тривоги, робота з дітьми продовжувалась навіть в укриттях. На фото діти-сироти та полусироти. Вони в захваті від своїх друзів та по диханню. І ми бачимо зміну емоційних відчуттів, емоційного стану цих дітей.
And in May, bombings and air raid alerts continued all the time, and we had to continue working with children in bomb shelters. And here you can see working with orphans and orphans, and they enjoyed using breathing bodies so much. And you can see that their emotional state has improved significantly. It's so much better.
Жінки, які працюють в небезпечній зоні, вимушені проводити в укриттях від 30 до 70% робочого часу. Лавха у перерві між повітряними тривогами у кімнаті психологічного розвантаження.
And women who work in dangerous zones have to spend from 30 to 70% of their working time in bomb shelters. And here you can see how Lavha is helping them, healing them at the room of psychological relief in the breaks between the air raid alerts.
27 червня. Жахлива трагедія у місті. Раптовий ракетний удар у торгівельному центрі Амстор. 100 поранених. Понад 20 загиблих. Люди, які зникли безвісті. Більшість загиблих віком від 20 до 40 років.
And on the 27th of June, a terrible tragedy happened at Amstor shopping center. Over 100 people were wounded and over 20 people killed. And most of these people were between 20 and 40 years old. And many people went missing too.
Психологічна допомога з першої години жахливої трагедії. Практики BBM застосовувалися з відвідувачами центру, працівниками, що вціліли, та родичами загиблих. На фото тривала робота з менеджером торгівельного центру з симптомами дисоціації, починаючи з другого дня, прямо безпосередньо біля торгівельного центру.
And we started working with survivors from the first hour after that happened, with visitors of the shopping center, employees, and relatives of those who survived. And on this slide, you see a long-time work with the manager of this shopping center that started on the second day after the tragedy, and we worked close to this shopping center. And she had symptoms of dissociation. Sorry.
Серпень-вересень. Тисячі людей прибувають зі Сходу. Проводиться робота по супроводженню внутрішньопереміщених осіб до місця проживання, дуже часто вночі. Вечірні практики BBM – цінний ресурс психолога, відновлення та практика разом з домашнім улюбленцем.
And from August through September, thousands of people of internally displaced persons would come from the east of the country, and employees had to accompany them to their new place of residence. And often this would happen at night. And evening BBM practices are really precious in the work of psychologists. They help to recover. And on the slide, you see the psychologist practicing with the pet.
Листопад. Постійні атаки міста дронами «Шахед». Зруйновано біля 60 будинків у передмісті. BBM-практики гарно сприймаються рятувальниками, які мають зберігати концентрацію уваги, психологічну гнучкість та сприяють позбавленню стресу.
And in November, there were continuous attacks on the city with Iranian drones, Shaheeds, and over 60 buildings, residence buildings were destroyed around the city. And BBM practices help a lot, and they are received well by rescue workers, and they help them to maintain concentration of attention and psychological flexibility, and they help them relieve stress.
Продовжується співпраця з різноманітними благодійними організаціями, в тому числі Червоним Хрестом. На початку жовтня проведена робота з 3 групами людей, членами благодійної організації Полтавський єврейський фонд Хесед Нефеш по відновленню персоналу. До програми годинного тренінгу була включена 30-хвилинна програма BBM.
We continue cooperation with different organizations, charities and Red Cross. And in the beginning of October, we worked with 3 groups of members of the Jewish Charity Center, Hesed Nefesh, based in Poltava. And these were programs on personnel recovery, and the trainings program included 30-minute BBM program.
Середина жовтня. Позапланова робота з рятувальниками, які виїжджали на ліквідацію аварії з загибелю людей.
This is the middle of October, and this is unscheduled work with rescuers who worked on elimination of an accident that involved the death of people.
Починаючи з 2014 року, психологи вибирали дихання по квадрату як розповсюджену техніку. Зараз з'явилася можливість розробки дієвої гнучкої програми, яка триває 10 або 60 хвилин.
Since 2014, psychologists have been using square breathing technique as one of most common techniques, and now they have opportunity to make the program flexible, use a flexible BBM program that can last anywhere from 10 to 60 minutes.
Дякую за увагу. Разом з найвідомішим собакою України. Це пес Патрон. Він працює з піротехніками. І у мене є такі пси маленькі.
Thank you so much for your attention, and I thank you together with this dog whose name is Patron. He's the most famous dog of Ukraine. He works with people who work with mines and with explosives. And I have 2 dogs like those. And his name, Patron, means cartridge, like for weapons.
Дякую, Tata, дякую for your beautiful presentation. and showing us so many ways that Breath, Body, Mind is helping in Ukraine. We have and thank you so much for your translation, Natalia. We're going to have our last set of guests. I want to introduce Jan and Janice Nigro. Jan is the singer-songwriter who composed, there you are, I finally see you live, and there's Janice. Jan is the singer-songwriter who composed the original Walk a Mile in Your Shoes song that Vitamin L generously gave us, and which has become our theme song. And Janice is the director who produced it. They had an organization or a company called Vitamin L that was designed as a program for character education through music, with students performing inspirational songs. And I'm going to ask them to tell us a little bit about the wonderful song and their work.
Thank you. I'm new to Breath, Body, Mind, and I'm so moved and impressed by what you're accomplishing. It's so powerful and beautiful and inspiring. I'm going to be brief because I'm splitting my time up with Janice, but I wrote the song Walk a Mile back in 1987, along with a number of other songs that were for a recording being done by Vitamin L, the young people singing group that Janice and I started. Song Walk a Mile is a song about empathy, which is at the core of the work that Breath, Body, Mind does. And we all know the world needs more empathy desperately. Over the years, I've written a lot of songs, and when I wrote Walk a Mile, I didn't have any idea that it would become the most popular song that I'd ever written, and that it would wind up being used in conflict management programs throughout America and in other countries as well. And I'm so pleased that it's being used by Breath, Body, Mind, who, again, you're doing such important healing work. So thank you for what you're doing. Janice?
I second what Jan said about, I'm overwhelmed, really. It's going to be hard for me to even talk. But I will do my best. I'm just so deeply moved by today. So a little more background about the song that Jan is my husband, by the way. I'm Janice and he's Jan. He's downstairs and I'm upstairs right now. A little more background about the song. Various people have recorded the song in America. And online on YouTube a few years ago, we found various videos of people performing, including a community chorus from Australia singing it. And that really delighted us. Many years ago, someone we know, a professor from a university here in our town, was doing work in Rwanda. And someone there translated it into Rwandan. I've tried, they can't track down that translation, but at the time it was translated and had a healing effect on some people there, which meant a lot to us. In 2017, which was the 30th birthday or 30th anniversary of the song being written, the mayor of our city in Ithaca, New York, declared February 14th as Walk a Mile Day in our city to celebrate the 30th birthday of this song. And there was a public event where different people spoke and shared different stories. One person that spoke was using it as a theme song in a hospital she worked at, trying to encourage the staff, all the staff at all the levels, to have empathy with the patients that were coming to the hospital. Over about 2.5 years ago, in the summer of 2020, when our organization had a group of young singers who performed with my husband, Jan. I was the behind the scenes part of it. And when the pandemic hit, we had to stop the performances and we switched to music videos. And we made the first one we made during the pandemic. Someone who knew of us, I actually had never met him, I don't think, Brian Hart, who is connected with your organization. He shared the video with Dr. Gerbarg, and it was moving to her, and this is not of the song Walk a Mile, this is of another song Jan wrote. Anyway, I met her over Zoom the summer of 2020. I heard about her wonderful work, and I told her we would be happy if you have any use for any of our Vitamin L songs, of which there are over 50. So I sent her all the recordings and songbooks and such, and then kind of didn't hear from her until last spring. Someone contacted me, and I found out that the song Walk a Mile that my husband wrote was now the theme song of the organization, and I was very happy. Then this summer, Dr. Gerbarg started speaking to me about getting a Ukrainian version that could be used with the programming that was being done for Ukrainian citizens and for the psychologists who were being trained. And so then luckily Helen was kind enough to do the translation, and I set out to find somebody who could sing the version, and we got our temporary version of the song in Ukrainian. I call it temporary because they need a longer version to go with the tapping, and I am working on that right now of trying to get that done. So it means a great deal to us to have this chance to reach out to Ukrainians. Excuse me, wow. And a little side note, both Jan and I coincidentally have Ukrainian heritage through our grandparents, but we would feel that way regardless. And we're just kind of amazed and grateful that the song has been of use. Thank you.
Well, thank you so much, Janice and Jan. We very much appreciate what you've given all of us, the song that keeps on giving in a sense. And thank you very much. Right. Now, we were going to take a little break, but apparently we have taken a little more time than expected with our wonderful speakers and all the conversations. I'm going to turn this over to Dr. Brown, because what we would, do you want to come in here and help me?
Take a little bit.
Okay, great.
So I'm struck by what Sean Bosco says, because not everyone, I don't think, can really understand what's happening in Ukraine or what happened in Rwanda. But I think his questions are what everybody in Ukraine can feel of, it really makes you wonder about why it's happening. And my feeling is everybody on earth should be thinking about these things and what they're going to do next to deal with it. So it's very special to be with you all. And of course, I feel like my whole life, including my DNA going back generations, leads me to be doing this right now. And I didn't understand that actually until I went and presented in Ireland, and they asked me if I had ancestors that had survived the sinking of the Titanic. And I do. And my ancestors have been doing stuff like this for probably hundreds of years, if not longer. So I feel like we all of us need to empower more people to bring out the best we have as human beings and to work together. And I feel like especially work in Rwanda and South Sudan has helped us do even better with Ukraine and to respond better and listen, because like I say in our teacher training, each group and each moment is different. And you have to understand that and work with that to be most effective. But it's also seeing where you've taken things, Tatiana. It's time for me to both with the Ukrainian teachers and Rwandan teachers to give you some more advanced techniques, even on Zoom, which we haven't done, that we ordinarily used to do in person, but that we can teach you even more advanced techniques to have even more powerful healing tools now that you're at this point. So it's great for me to see what everybody is doing. Not everybody, there are many teachers doing other things you're not seeing that are amazing too, but I feel like we're going in a certain direction, which is so important at this point.
I just want to say, people often ask me, how is it that you do so much? And I really believe and feel that it's because the people we work with inspire us, and each of you inspires us, who you are as individuals, what positive things you do with your lives, with your talents, and the people that you work with and help. So all of that, all of these ripples around the world, all of these wonderful people that we have met through Breath, Body, Mind, you are the source of our inspiration, our energy, and it's what allows us to keep doing this through the years. And we hope you'll find the same, that the more you teach Breath, Body, Mind to others, the more you'll feel that you're being restored and nourished and energized to keep doing more, because there's always more to do. And as I started out saying, this is a very special group of people. All of you are doing what is good, and the world really needs all of us to keep doing that. So thank you for your energy, your talents, your help, and let's keep doing it.
And it goes back to what Ludmila said, is we're really talking about relationships. It's not just techniques. The techniques may help unlock our system so that we change how we relate to other people. But it's all a part of that. Okay. Anything else anybody wants to share before we end?
Could I just thank everybody one more time for coming? This has just been so wonderful. Seeing all of you from literally the four corners of the earth and having you join us for this, it's just absolutely a delight. Thank you all. Дякую.
Juliana has her hand up.
Go ahead, Juliana.
Thank you. Thank you for this amazing event. It just, yeah, so memorable and unforgettable. I'm wondering why not to repeat it, and how about starting your worldwide breathing time once a month all together? We are all around the world spread there, but so we are there. Just tell us when to breathe and we will.
Well, one of our dreams has been to get major cities of the world breathing at the same time together. And there are, in many countries now, there's an International Yoga Day. And so one of the people who's learned a lot from us, and that's where Jody came to London to learn how to do breath, body, mind. She'd like to do London first. So there are different cities that are like nerve nodes around the world. So New York is good, but London is even bigger as a nerve center of the world. So, you know, my feeling is we just have to think about what cities we want to do together and begin to make it happen. You know,
there's a lot of people in London who you know, who or around in the surrounds of London, who can get to London quite easily, who do different kinds of breath work. And I think that there would be a real welcome to come together and do a Breathe London or Breathe England.
Right. Because like we're doing this all now, you know, we can
I
have
don't think it would take very much to put that together,
No.
to be honest.
New York, London, Kigali, or, you know, again, people can come on from anywhere, and Turkey.
And Ukraine.
And Ukraine, obviously. Yeah, so.
Spain and
I'm happy to help with the UK bit.
other countries.
Right. And Dublin and Belfast, and many other places around the world. Yeah. Puerto Rico.
Should we live in this big city to join? In one of the big cities?
You don't have to live in a big city.
Right, right. It's just, there's a certain concentration. It's nice to have people concentrated, you know, to do it. But with Zoom, people can be anywhere, basically, as long as they've got internet. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, we can get maybe, you know, not like physical concentration, but kind of to do it in the same time all around the world. Maybe it will work as well. And it's easier to organize.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Online breathing together.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
It might have to start with a social media campaign.
And Brian's saying if all 60 attendees invite 10 to the next event, before you know it, an event would reach 1,000 at a time. Yeah.
Anyone else wish to share, make a comment, whatever, before we have to say goodbye for today?
Thank you very much. This has been so impressive in so many ways. It's just amazing.
Great. Bill's been a regular at my breathing sessions in New York for years. And Peter?
Thank you so much. It's so inspiring, so beautiful. So yes, I mean, yes, that was an early day in Auckland for me, but yes, it's so wonderful to see everybody from the world coming together, and how many projects you inspired for people to come and go out and help people. That's so amazing. It's so incredible. I feel totally inspired and so thankful to be able to be part of that group. Thank you so much.
Right. And just, Angel, do you want to say what the Vivir Mi Vida song is singing about?
That again, what is the question again?
You want to explain to people, one of the songs we heard was Vivir Mi Vida, and not everybody speaks Spanish, so it's good for them to know what he's singing about.
Right, Vivir Mi Vida is precisely looking to yourself in a positive way, because there's gonna be raining, and the raining will wash your pains or your hurts. Why to worry about a pain, emotional pain, if it's gonna go by if you don't pay attention to it? So it's an invitation to live the moment without concerns of the pains or the worries, because you have to live your life. That's basically the message. Why to worry about the pain if it's gonna go by anyway? And let the rain wash your purse, your pains, actually. So it's a very, invitational to live your life. There's something in a book called Get Out of Your Mind and Your Life. Basically, live the moment and don't let that chatter, get in between. So that's basically the core of BBM, Let the thoughts go by and live in what you're feeling. Start to learn to feel inside. That's basically the message. It's very consistent with our philosophies.
Thank you.
Great. So thank you all, and we will look forward to seeing you again. And we see where the journey takes each of us individually and then all together.
Thank you for coming. Do pobacenia.